All right, what is up, y'all boys? I'll be going over my trade recap from today. We ended up breaking even, or we barely made anything in profit, but I'll basically be going over, yeah, my trade recap. So to begin, as we can see, we have these high time frame draws and liquidity, these 4 hour highs and these 4 hour highs. I took my trade off of these 4 hour highs right here. And so as you can see, we have this huge candle to the upside, which was CPI this morning at 8:30 Eastern. And so after we get this huge candle to the upside, obviously on the 4 hour, I'm not waiting for closure because then essentially I'd have to wait for this candle to close and then for us to get a retracement. And we can see we didn't actually get that. I think that's more of what we might see tomorrow. We might get a reaction off of this 4 hour fair value gap into this fair value gap and continue higher. I simply say that we'll probably continue higher because we've just been going down like crazy, and I'm thinking it's probably time for us to maybe get a movement back to the upside. But yeah, that's just speculation. That's just pure guessing. But the market does show that we have a pretty decent setup for us to continue higher. Now that we broke structure on the 4 hour, which we haven't seen in some time. And so, as we can see, we've been in this downward trajectory. So we finally break structure to the upside on the 4 hour. And I think that that's one of the reasons why I may have been stopped out or I break even today is because Um, I was in a trade basically around the time that we actually ended up closing on the 4 hour above these previous highs. And so we actually turned bullish and I was in a short position. That may have been a reason. I'm not sure though. But essentially, yeah, I'll be just be going over my trade. So we had a buy side up here. As we can see, we were still bearish on the 4 hour at the time and we were bullish on the 1 hour. So that's obviously it could be a 4 hour retracement, but with this candle, I was very much expecting us to end up closing above these previous highs. Or sorry, it was actually these previous highs. That's where we break structure. And so there was absolutely no way that we weren't going to close bullish. So I entered knowing that, but honestly, I really saw it as a good setup for to take shorts. And so if we scale down, obviously we see the same story here. Like I said, we're bullish on the 1 hour. And then if you go to the 15 minute, we have a 15-minute bearish SMT also. And so I can show you guys this right here. So 5 minutes, 15 minutes. So I think it was around this time. So right here, let me see, 6 a.m. We had, hold up, boys. Let me just, okay, so we see these highs right here. Okay, bro, let me hold it. Give me a second. I need to find the highs that I took it off of. So we have higher highs here. And then here we have, bro, is this okay, this is because it's the same index, bro. What am I doing? Holy shit. Okay. So let me just actually go to the NASDAQ. I'm pretty sure it was, yeah, it's cleaner here. So I'm pretty sure it was at 6 a.m. that I had my highs marked out. So if we go, I think it was right here, or maybe it was right here. So 6 a.m. highs right here. Okay. And then this morning, so these highs up here connected to what we can see right here as, I guess, lower highs. And then on the S&P, so like we said, this is 6 a.m., uh, 6 a.m. So we have highs right here connected to higher highs. And so obviously this is like I said, bearish SMT. And so bearish SMT on the 15 minutes, and we are sweeping this, I guess it was 1 hour. Well, I took my trade on S&P, so let me go back to S&P. So we were sweeping, it was actually 4 hour draws on liquidity. So I was more confident on taking it on the S&P, 4 hour draws on liquidity. And from here, so we're getting a sweep of liquidity, 4 hour liquidity. We have a bearish SMT in play, and we have a bearish SMT. And then on the 5 minutes, I'm now looking for a 5 minute break of structure to the downside. So we can see that obviously we get that on this candle right here. We continue downwards, and we finally get a retracement into this equilibrium of this downwards move. And we get a 1 minute break of structure, and then also this fair value gap. We get a 1 minute break of structure to the downside on this black candle in here. And so first take profit was going to be is so if we go to the 15 minutes, we have this 15, I had the 15-minute fair value gap marked out. So this 15-minute fair value gap, and first take profit was slightly, this is something new that I tried out today. So I usually take profit. I usually want to see a retracement to the equilibrium of fair value gap. However, I wasn't fully sure that we were going to get the full retracement in there into there, so I wanted to play it safe by placing a first take profit a little above the equilibrium of the top half of this fair value gap. And so this is the top half of the fair value gap. This is the equilibrium right here. This was my take profit right here. And then second take profit, so I had three contracts. I exited two for some pretty good profit. And then second take profit was a little bit higher above the equilibrium of this fair value gap, which we can see we did not end up getting. I left my stop loss right here. We ended up coming up here. We got stopped out. And so I think I ended up making like 20 bucks on this trade or something like that, but it was nothing, bro. Um, yeah, so it was obviously not a losing day, but definitely something to reflect on. I've already journaled on it, and I guess my main takeaways from this is I don't know, bro. Like we were sweeping 4 hour liquidity. We had a bearish SMT. We had this huge imbalance that we had created. I genuinely thought we were gonna get some sort of a retrace. As we can see, we did get a retracement. We just didn't come down fully to the equilibrium. So I was expecting a retracement. And since we closed bullish on the 4 hour, I very much expected us to retrace back into this huge imbalance we have here on the 4 hour also. So as we can see, we did continue higher into that imbalance. And yeah, boys, that's basically it for me today. So I guess this was honestly, I honestly saw it as a pretty good trade setup. Like I said, sweeping 4 hour liquidity, bearish SMT in play. We had a huge imbalance right here that I wanted to see a retracement into. But I guess the only thing I can attribute it to is that we end up we basically end up getting confirmation, 4 hour break of structure to the upside confirmation off of this CPI candle. I doubted that we're going to come all the way down to here and then not get a break of structure. That's just not going to happen. So we basically knew that we were going to break structure on the 4 hour. So we were going to be bullish on basically every single time frame, except for the day and the weekly. But on every single high time frame, we were going to end up bullish. And that kind of just goes against the bias. But yet again, I don't regret taking this trade because of all the reasons that I just stated. So um definitely something to look out for in trades in the future. The only thing I can say is we took it was a pre-market trade, and so that's something I'm going to keep my eye out on is should I be taking pre-market trades, or should I just wait for the macro to take a trade? So yeah, so just some key takeaways there. A pretty good day to reflect on, and yeah, boys, I appreciate you guys watching. I'll see you boys in the next